freedom fighters, back with another one. Today's topic, Whu Ite Rage. Yeah, we're gonna have to fill in Millie, on all this Whu Ite Rage going on around the country. We had another example of the Whu Ite Rage this weekend. Let's hop right into it and check it out.
Investigating this latest incident, Garrett, of this poor woman who was cornered?
Yeah, John, it is one of many incidents from Saturday night that they are investigating, and we want to show you this video again, but remember, this is going to be tough to watch. Yeah, it is not clear from this clip what happened leading up to this encounter, but 20-year-old Ashley Knudsen tells Fox News that she and her boyfriend, 22-year-old Devontae Johnson, were attacked for no reason. You can see that crowd of several dozen people surrounding them as they're backed into the corner and then viciously assaulted. Ashley says the mob stole their phones, shoes, and an Apple Watch. They were both taken to the hospital by a Good Samaritan who gave them shoes and $40. DJ's face and shoulder got hurt, and Ashley has a scratch on her face, but thankfully the couple doesn't have any major injuries. Now, despite seeing videos like that from Saturday night, some state and local officials are still defending the young people involved and blaming the city for what happened.
Remember that title, the headline they used. It's a group of teens, in air quotes, attack a woman, in air quotes. Just a random group of teens, attacking a random woman for no reason whatsoever. And it's got the tagline in it. It's like, yeah, we get active. And that's a direct message from I forget who said it. If that might even have been Obama or Maxine Waters or whatnot. But they're always saying these activists and stuff are always like, yeah, get active. You need to be active in your community and stuff. Well, there you go. You got the kids being active. And they're saying so on your behalf. But yeah, anyway, I was watching that clown show on, Fox. And, you expect it on any of the other fake news. CNN, MSNBC, whatever. But, this was daytime Fox, too. And they got all the clowns on. They had this John Roberts on there, which is an absolute clown. And I can't believe he's still even, working on Fox. But then again, it is, it's just Republican light, Rhino Network, for boomer cuck conservatives. So, yeah, it is what it is. But, John Roberts went on his own, tirade a couple years back where he was hounding Kayleigh McEnany. And I guess he was the press correspondent or whatever for the White House back then. And, he was like, oh, does Trump denounce, all this racism and, white supremacy? And then he went on a tirade, he was like, oh, everyone's blaming the media for calling it out, and it's not my fault, I'm sick and tired of it.
Very puzzling. And for all of you on Twitter who are hammering me for asking that question, I don't care, because it's a question that needs to be asked. And clearly, the president's Republican colleagues a mile away from here are looking for an answer for it, too. So stop deflecting. Stop blaming the media. I'm tired of it.
And then do you not realize what your own network is doing? Like, do you not see the headlines? Well, anyway, then 10 minutes later, literally the next segment over, they run this.
A white homeowner in Kansas City is facing felony charges now in the shooting of a black teenager who went to the wrong address and rang the doorbell to pick up his younger siblings from a playdate.
You see the difference? You see the white homeowner, shoots black teen, just ringing a doorbell. You see how they're real quick to point out the races then? it's an obvious agenda. It's real clear. You pretty much have to be blind, not to see it at this point. And they make it like, oh, it's racist to, to point out or whatnot. And it's like, the same way they may build the wall, racism. Nothing's racist about that. Heck, there's Mexicans that support building the wall. You know, there's a big Latino support for Trump. You know, and it's the same thing. They're like, oh, yeah, you're calling it out, and I don't know everything in that case. I don't claim to know. I was watching another video on it too, after that said, we have to see all the details in this because supposedly that I forget even what state it was in, but it's a casserole doctrine state. Stand your ground. So we'll have to see what comes out with that. I mean, I don't recommend people blasting just because someone shows up to your doorstep, but it's a crazy world we're living in nowadays, man. You got to keep your head on a swivel, stay aware, and this was an old guy, he's probably quicker to act than, a young man in his prime who's like, I can fight something off or, see what's going on before I escalate, to lethal force. But yeah, then what else no one's talking about was the same week, the same thing happened to this girl, and I forget her name is Kaylin Gillis. And no one's talking about that, but yeah, supposedly this white girl and her boyfriend pulled up in this guy's driveway and he shot him. And Kamala and Joe, are out there sending tweets like, oh, no kids should, have to fear for their life for ringing on the wrong doorbell because of the color of their skin, and that's not what it is. Obviously, because you've ran the country into the ground so hard, people are on edge. Society is collapsing, and, people are not going to people are hopping to that next level. They're not going to take precautions. Supposedly in that other case, multiple cars went into his driveway. He's like, oh, well, maybe one car, for his neighborhood, like, oh, people turn around in my driveway all the time. But then 2 cars, and then 3 cars. And he's like, you know what? They're planning something. Maybe they're spotting the place out or something. So it's all kinds of stuff, man. And, it's just crazy. Supposedly also some teenagers got shot for hopping into the wrong dude's car. And again, I mean, people are on edge, man. The crime is out of this world. Everything's going crazy. But, they only show one side of it because that only meets the agenda. Yeah, so maybe we need to flood Millie, his inbox with some Colin Flaherty videos or something. If you're unaware of who he is, he's been like covering for like a decade black on white crime, targeted violence, from these inner city, Tony Sotomayor, Jesse Lee Peterson. They've been covering it for a while. Also, a lot of Asian targeted violence. And this whole campaign too with the Stop Asian Hate all of a sudden, and they're like, oh, white supremacy, this and that. And it's like, believe me, the Asian community isn't getting attacked by whites. And they know what it is. But again, they won't say it. And I think, FBI leader Ray said the same thing, oh, these Whu Ite Supreme pizzas are the biggest problem in our country. It's an absolute joke. And it all just goes one way once again. I remember seeing one story too where this guy was like in a park and he said, go back to your country or something. and got charged for a hate crime. You know, just for saying something like, what happened to First Amendment and stuff? Now, I don't condone you, telling that to people or whatever, but, those are words. What happened to sticks and stones, may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Those were words. And then you got the 4 black teenagers in New York, I believe it was, that literally kidnapped an autistic white kid, put it on Facebook Live, and they're all smoking blunts, calling him racial names, giving him swirlies and sticking his head in the toilet, and then they scalped him. They literally chopped the hair off his head, and they're all laughing again, thinking it's all fun and games, and what did they get? No hate crimes. Of course not. No, they don't even get, like, assault charges or anything. They got, like, probation. I mean, it's so clear and obvious, and you're never going to be able to defend yourself, in this country. And as demographics change, that's going to be a big problem, because there's going to be no defense for white people, and that's already happening. I mean, look at the video I did back. Tucker did this one video, and I think I titled "The Second Amendment's Already Gone." And it had Kyle Rittenhouse on there, and they were calling him a white supremacist. And again, he didn't even kill anybody of color. But again, they're marching on behalf, of Black Lives Matter, so you can't do that. Same just recently, this the veteran in Texas. Again, he killed that Garrett Foster. He was a white guy, but he's Antifa, or he's BLM, so you can't do that. Those days are over, man. The Clint Eastwood Wild Wild West, coming out of your house and racking the shotgun, get off my lawn. Those days are over, man. And pretty soon, there's going to be no defense for whites. There's no nothing for whites. But, white rage is the problem. Well, anyway, man, like I said, ain't nobody coming to save us. Only God can save you. So get right with God. Freedom Fighters out.